What's up, guys? It's producer Grant here. Know it's been a little while. Figured I'd give you guys a little inside information on how to mix some vocals. So here I've got a track from Gut Mouth. The song title is Money Hungry. The beat was produced by me, and I decided this would probably be, a decent song to show you guys a little tutorial on what I do to vocals. And so yeah, I'll go ahead and play it, and this is going to be completely dry. The only thing to note is I do have bus compression on right now. I do mix with a little bit of bus compression just so I get a better idea of what the final product would sound like after mastering. So this is going to be with all effects, all inserts and sends off, and this is just how it is. Please note that I do try to get all of my levels sitting at about -12, -13 dB. Just gives you plenty of headroom to work with. So here we go.
Can't see still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. The 10 seconds can get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young stop Sicilian, she know I love that guap. So she go and get that bread and bring me back them garlic knots. Lord know I love that cheese, that fettuccine hit the spot. Okay. All I do is get dough, so I be counting cash a lot. Whole motherfucker baller, so I'm getting ass a lot. Hey. My money like the X-Men, they both come fast a lot. Team full of ballers, big money is our mascot. Catch you for shit, I'm dead under the standby. Paint like a surface full red, do this flip flop. Told my watch was broke, cause she couldn't hit TikTok. Before you take mine, on me, I'ma take a LY. Die about mine, I tell you that, all TikTok. Money on steroids, boy, I get big wide.
Alright, so basically these first two tracks here, this is the main line of the verse. He decided to do pass-offs when he was recording it instead of just recording it all the way through. So he did, I think every other bar. So these two essentially are going to be mixed exactly the same, because that's literally all we did when we recorded it, was go from one track, and he would stop, we'd go to the next one, and so forth. So anything I do to this first one is going to be exactly the same on the second one. This third track here, he's got highlights, so basically just some overdubs, just kind of make certain parts, certain words stand out. And then this fourth track here is his ad-libs. Add a little bit more flavor and excitement to the verse. So right now, we'll go ahead and take a listen to these first two here, and I'll show you what I started with. So we're gonna solo this first, and I'll do like the first 4 bars. I'll solo both of these. So we're going to take a listen to just the vocals and just get an idea of what we need to do to them.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit still.
Alright, so first thing I like to do is I like to usually add a de-esser first, because I like a good, decent amount of compression to go on my vocal. And before I compress it, I want to de-ess it so that sibilance isn't triggering the compressor more than it needs to. Not to mention, so we don't get any harshness out of it. So I'm going to turn on the de-esser here, and I'm also going to pull it up and just kind of show you what we're actually de-essing here. All right. So this is with the de-esser.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian. Young fly Sicilian.
Alright, so it's not showing on that second pass because this is the first one, but I can do this for you. So the first part right here will show up on this de-esser, the second part here will show up on this de-esser. Alright, let's do that again.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit still, but
Alright, so it's not doing a whole lot. The vocals were recorded with an AKG C414B XL2 microphone. And I want to say it was going through a Focusrite Tone Factory before going into the Digi 002 when this was recorded. So it's got a fairly clean signal chain, just a little bit of color added with that Tone Factory, but there was nothing major done. So the de-essing here that's being done is very slight. We're just taking a little bit of that harshness out of the CHs and the Ts. You notice we're sitting around 5K. That's usually where that kind of harshness comes in, between like 4 and 6K or so. Alright, so I'm going to take this. Next thing I decided to do was Subtractive EQ. And turn that on. I like to do Subtractive EQ to get out any of the problematic frequencies. I'll go ahead and play. How about this? I'll go ahead and play them without, and then I'll add them in. And we'll just have a take it, what that sounds like. So this is without them.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit.
So there's a little bit of boxiness in the recording. It's not terrible, but there's a couple of frequencies that stand out. So we're going to turn this on and see what that does to it.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit still.
So if you'll notice while it's playing, you'll see the frequency analyzer. You'll see these big peaks of where I'm actually subtracting. You'll see the big peaks in that area, and those are the frequencies that I'm actually taming. So if you take a look at this one more time, and you'll see that I have placed these in those problematic areas, and I'll show you how I do that.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing.
All right, so basically, let's just delete this one and pretend it doesn't even go there. And I'm going to look for a problematic frequency. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab and draw in a band here. I'm going to completely narrow the Q to where it's really, really skinny. All right. I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to basically grab this, pull it way up here to 30 dB, and I'm going to sweep around, and I'm going to try to get the ugliest possible sound that I can out of it. And where I hear just the most harsh frequency at, I'm going to then take it and subtract it. All right. So let's take a listen and let's do that.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after.
All right, so that's pretty serious right there. All right, so depending on the severity of that, there's no set number that you need to subtract. Use your ears. All right, I generally try to start out at around 3.5 to 5 dB. Some cases I have clients send me stuff that they recorded in like a small closet or something, and it's just, I mean, it's really bad, and I have to sometimes take out like 8 and 9 decibels. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna subtract, let's just say about 4.25, and we're gonna widen out the band so it's not so harsh, and it kind of doesn't make it sound as surgical. It kind of makes it sound like it's more rounded and smooth. All right. Yeah, and as you can tell, I actually took out 5.88, so we'll just make that match up. .587 is good enough. All right. So we're going to close those out. Next, I like to add compression. So we'll listen to it without compression, and then we'll add the compressors in. All right, so this is without.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends.
All right, with.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian.
All right, it adds a little bit of that more in-your-face vibe. I like to get, just depends on really the vocal, I like to get about 3, maybe 4 dB of reduction. I do put it on a 4 to 1 ratio, and always turn your, I mean, this is up to you, but we're in the new age. You know, this analog right here, this is to add some of that analog console noise to your tracks. You know, nowadays we don't really need this. I mean, I like a clean sound, a clean recording. I'm not going to use these because that just adds stuff to my recordings and to my tracks that I don't want. So, you know, if you want it on, you can have it on. I always make sure that anytime there's an option to turn it off, that I do turn it off. And then I adjust the output. That way, whenever I turn all of my plugins on or off, I can compare my vocals before and after without a huge volume change, so I can get a real idea of what it sounded like before and what it sounds like after I've processed it. All right, so there's the compression. Vocal Writer, I just use this guy just for, it's basically, Vocal Writer is a compressor. Don't overthink this. This is not a big magic trick. You know, all this is a compressor with, you know, a little bit more of a visual. So basically, whenever the volume's too loud, it pulls the fader down, and when the volume's not loud enough, it'll push it up, and it tries to stay around this center mark that you give it. And just notice that I mean, I've got a really small range. I've got 1.6 dB of range here. So that means it's not going to move far at all. That's just to help kind of just smooth it out a little bit. I am not using this in any crazy way. I don't even know that I would ride a fader for this much of attenuation, really, or for this least amount of attenuation. But that's what we've got. So I'll let you listen to it with it.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed.
I mean, you can see it's doing really, really, really minute work here. All right. Next up, I do EQ. On this one, I've got the SSL EQ. All right. I'm just pulling down a little bit of the low mid frequencies and adding just a little bit of high shelf to it. And the filter, I don't know what it is about the SSL EQ, but the low end filter has just got such a nice just roundness to it. Once again, this is that analog sound. You know, you might see that and say, ooh, analog, I should click that. That's just going to add noise into your stuff. So, see, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you. Watch down here. This is the track that I'm on right now. Right now, the analog is off. If I click it on, watch what happens. It just adds noise to the bottom. So if you can only imagine, if you had every plugin on this channel turned on and you've got the noise floor down here, and then imagine you do that for the rest of your 30 or 40 tracks across the board, that's a lot of noise being introduced into your mix for really no reason. All right. So I always make sure to turn that off. Once again, the high pass filter on this thing is just really nice. Got a really nice round curve to it, so it's not harsh, and it gets rid of that real low end that's not needed in your vocals. So once again, I'm not doing anything to the low frequencies. I am cutting out a little bit of, what do we have here? Like 600. Just cutting out 2 dB. Not doing anything with the high mids, and I am adding about 4.3, so about 4.25, 4.5 or so of 14K, just to give it a little bit of that high end shimmer. All right, so I'm gonna turn these off and play it, and then I'm gonna turn them on and let you hear the difference. This is without.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends.
With?
Can't sit still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain costs a civilian. Young fly Sicilian.
All right. Then I've got RVox, which is another compressor. I know you guys are probably thinking like, my goodness, this guy is using a crap load of compressors. But I'm not really using any of them in any real harsh way. The first one of these compressors is practically not doing hardly anything. The other one's giving me about 3, maybe 4 dB. And we'll see, I think this one's giving me like 2 dB of attenuation here, so that's not a lot either. But this one just gives me a little bit extra, little extra push as far as standing out in your face. So I will show it to you without, and then with. Here's without.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends.
With.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends.
So it just adds a little bit kind of in your face to it. And then this is something that I do on all of my tracks. I put a gate on all of my tracks, because when the audio is not playing and there's like a little bit of background noise, I mean, yes, like, I can go in here and edit this stuff out like I have here. But sometimes clients send me stuff and they've got like, I don't know, like a fan or something in the background. I mean, you can only EQ stuff out of a mix so much. before it really degrades the signal and the quality of the vocal itself. So putting this gate on here kind of cut a lot of that work out for me, and just knock out anything that's not needing to be heard. So the way the gate works is you have a threshold here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it all the way off, so the gate's completely off, and I'll let you listen to it.
Chasing after dividends.
See, they kind of hovered around here for a little bit. We pull that up. As soon as he quits singing or rapping, the gate will actually close the signal off to where you're not hearing anything. So let's hear that again now with it on.
Chasing after dividends.
So you got that little that he had where he's clearing his throat. And we can actually take that out by raising the threshold even more.
Chasing after dividends.
Alright, so I'd have to probably edit that part out, but I'm not going to go too high on that because you really don't want to cut out any part of it where, you know, he's starting a sibilance or something on the first word, and it cuts it short. You just don't want to do that. So we're going to leave that for now. I'm going to turn this one on. Alright, so let's take a listen in context. Mind you, this is stuff that you should definitely do while listening to the beat. I mean, everything should be playing when you're mixing this. You don't want to do EQs by itself. You want to mix it in context with the track because the track may be EQ'd a certain way, and you kind of need to make those two things fit each other. So I definitely recommend mixing it in a full mix and not just soloed. The problematic frequencies, you could do that in solo mode, you know, just to really tune in to those bad frequencies and get those guys pulled out. So we're going to go ahead and take a listen to it now. This is with all of our insert processing.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 seconds that you kill my take off the civilian. Young stop Sicilian, you know I love that guap, so you can't see.
So mind you, I've got the highlights in there and the ad-libs in there, so it's adding a little extra on top of what we were just listening to by himself. So next, on my main vocal, I like to add a doubler. Alright? And I'm not doing this to get some crazy effect. I'm doing this just for a little bit of stereo imaging on the vocal. The vocal sits in the middle. It's meant to be in your face, but it just adds a slight bit of character and a little bit of width. I'm not trying to separate this. I'm not trying to make it sound, you know, super stereo like there's two voices going on. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of width in the track. All right, so I've got a send going to a track called Doubler. And this is the track right here. Doubler. All right. And I've got the Waves Doubler stereo on here. And basically just use two voices. The first voice, I detune it a +6, and the second voice, I detune it a -6. And basically that offsets it to make it sound pretty much on an even keel, but it gives it that width. One's hard, you know, panned 45 left, the other one's 45 right. It adds a little nice character to it. I'll go ahead and play it without it for you, and then we'll play it with it.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 seconds that you kill my take off the civilian. Young stop Sicilian.
So it's not really meant to be heard. It's not something that you're wanting to just, you know, turn up until you really hear the effect. I mean, it's very, very minute. And you guys might be thinking, well, if it's so minute, why are you even putting it in there? But it's just one of those things, man. It's the small things that matter. And in this case, I really like what it does. So next we've got the parallel compression. This is something I may end up making a video just on parallel compression, just to show you guys really what this parallel compression can do for you. So basically I've got to send my main vocal here. Remember, this track is the exact same as this track because they're just passing off. So I've got that going to this guy right here, parallel compression. I'm using the Hoffa IQ comp. I got the threshold cranked down on this guy. Remember, my levels are like a -12, -13, so I've got to really kind of crank down the threshold and even it in order to even touch it. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna press play and let you hear it without it, and then we'll let you hear it with it. This is without it.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks can get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young stocks.
With it.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks can get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young stocks Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't see still, but I don't need.
So I don't know if you can tell, but that really brings it forward. I mean, everything about the vocal just really pops out to the front of the mix here. Oh, in case you were wondering, so this is blue, this is yellow. You're like, well, what the hell's the difference? Why is this one yellow? So when it's blue, this means that you are sending to a send or an auxiliary track post fader, okay? And that's the normal way to send stuff. Whenever you just add a send on here, that's what it defaults to, is post fader. So in other words, the signal coming through this chain, going through all these plugins, and then it's going to say, okay, well, we're going to now send that signal to the doubler. And because it's post fader, if I turn the volume down here, it's going to turn the volume down going to the doubler. So no matter if I turn this down or up, it's always going to have the exact same amount of signal going to the doubler as far as ratio goes. So if you turn this down, it's not going to be drowned out by a doubler and it's going to sound real weird. It's going to get the same amount of doubler that it is to here as if you were to turn it down. It would get less signal sent to that doubler, just like you've got less signal coming here. So the yellow is pre-fader. Okay, and if you're wondering, well, why would you do pre-fader going to the parallel compression? Basically, I want to make sure that this parallel compressor here is going to be getting the same amount of signal no matter what. So if I decide, you know what, maybe I want it to turn down the lead vocal track, but I want to keep my parallel compression where it's at. If this was post fader and I turn this down, guess what? It's not going to be hitting this compressor as hard. It's going to change the character of that sound big time. You know, you're talking about, okay, well, instead of getting 6 or 7, 8 or 9 dB of compression here, because I squashed the crap out of it on parallel compression. So instead of getting that, you might only, if you turn down the fader here, you might only be getting 2, maybe 3, just depends on how much you're turning down. So that could really be a big difference. And then you got to go in here and reset all the levels and do all that. So if you make this pre-fader, no matter what you send this to, it's always going to have the same amount coming in here. And then you can blend this signal with the parallel compression signal. So you can blend it by using this fader and the fader that says parallel compression. And it'll always hit that compressor the exact amount. It won't change on you. All right. So I'm gonna play it with this pulled up. And you can just see how much is actually being compressed in this parallel compression chain. I mean, it's a lot. Mind you, this isn't to make it, you know, lightly compressed and add. I mean, you're lightly compressing it here. Okay. This is to squash the crap out of it. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and compress this here, or show you how much is being compressed here.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap. So she can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money.
I mean, as you can see, that thing is burying 12 dB. I mean, we're getting probably 14 dB of attenuation out of this thing. All right, it's just, that's blending this signal in with your lead channel is what's really making every word sound up front and clear, instead of having certain syllables hide behind the beat and certain syllables or sibilants, syllables, whatever, jumping out in front of the beat. This is giving you that consistency, okay? And on this track, because Guttermouth is you know, he's an upfront kind of guy, in your face rapper. I thought saturation would be a really good addition to the sound on this record. So basically, I've got saturation going here. All right, and I'm just using soft tube saturation knob. And I've got it turned high, and I'm going about 6, I think, on here. 5.5, 5.6. You look down here. All right, so I'll show you what that's adding. That's pretty cool. So this is without the saturation.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that
With
guap.
it.
So she can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap.
All right, so that's adding a nice little character boost. Let's go ahead and mute the beat, and I'll show you before and after of that. You get a better idea. This is without it.
Can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap. So she can't see still, but I don't need no riddling. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. If 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know.
So it adds a little bit of edge. A little bit of edge on that high end. Makes the sibilant stand out a little bit. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right. And we have got this right here. I've got this going to a track that I call Air, because that's what it's doing. It is adding some high-end shimmer. All right. VMR, this thing is freaking awesome. All right, this is what I've got it running through. Got it going through Revival. Got it going through a Neve type EQ. And then a FET compressor, just to kind of tame it. But notice I've got shimmer all the way up on here. That's that high end, okay? Then I've got a filter, just filtering out the low end, because I don't need the low end of the vocals coming through this. This is just to add high end to that mix. So I'm filtering out the low end of the vocals, and then I'm just using an L2 just to give me a little bit of level and just to even it out just a tad bit. All right, so you're really gonna notice a difference when we engage the air. All right, so I'll start without it.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young thought Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't see.
All right, let's add it.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young thought Sicilian, she know I.
I'm just gonna overuse it so you guys can hear what it's doing, and I'll bring it back down to where I've got it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and I'm gonna start pushing it up really high so you can hear what it's doing, and I'm gonna bring it back down for you.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young thought Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian.
So it's, I mean, you can see where this has got to be used sparingly. This will come out really harsh if you guys crank this up. I mean, remember, you still got mastering to go through. You can give some brightness to your track through the mastering process. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You're not trying to get all the high end right here. I mean, that's why you go through these tracks. And, you know, that's why we added a little bit of shimmer on the SSL EQ. Okay? You're not trying to get it all with one track or with one plug-in. I just realized I was playing the highlights and the ad-libs without the inserts turned on there. But that's okay. Alright, so then I grouped all 4 of these vocal tracks to a bus. Okay, this bus is named Verses because it does the first verse and the second verse. It's got the same layout. Alright, and what I'm doing here is, because I don't have any of these vocals panned, all of these are mono tracks, none of them are being panned left and right, these are all sitting down the middle. So, I am running a mono bus, I'm hitting a mono API 2500, and I generally like to get about 6 dB of reduction. And it just really glues the whole, all the tracks of the verse together, you know, between the highlights and the ad-libs. I mean, it just really glues them together, and I'll let you guys listen to it. We're going to do it without it, and then I'll turn it on for you.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young thought Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she
with it.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my chain cost a civilian. Young thought Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit.
And I've got the manual makeup button pushed here so I can actually manually turn it down a little bit. I didn't want it really cranking up. Notice here, I've got the analog button off. That's that noise I was talking about. Make sure you turn that off. All right. And in this one, I don't always do this. This is not something I always do. This is on a when I feel froggy kind of basis. Going through a J37 mono tape emulator, and this is just to round some of that high end off. That high end of that air that we added to it, some of it was a little sharp, but I liked what it was doing for most of the frequencies. So this right here is just kind of round that off a little bit. I've got saturation turned up just a little bit, and noise level is down far enough to where you're not really hearing it. I just like what it's doing to the vocals. So we'll go ahead and take a listen without it and then with it.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get
With it.
can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my tank cost a civilian.
You see how it rounds that high end off? It doesn't sound as harsh now on those higher frequencies. It just really smooths it out up there. Then I am running through the infamous LA2A. And I've got it in limiter mode. Once again, I've turned the analog off. Okay. And I usually only try to get maybe 1 dB of reduction. Maybe 1.5 if I'm really pushing it. We'll see. I don't remember what I did here, but it's usually around 1 dB of reduction is what I'm going for.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. 10 stacks could get you killed, my tank cost a civilian. Young fly Sicilian, she know I love that guap, so she can't sit still.
Yeah, so I was getting 1.5, 2 dB on that. That levels it out, and pulls it up front. I don't normally put the gate on the bus channel because all of these have the gates on it, but this guy's got noise being introduced into the signal chain. As you can see down here, we've got noise. So I turn this on to cut that noise out, basically when the verse isn't playing. So when the song's playing, the gate's saying, hey, let's not listen to that noise until we have to, which is whenever the verse actually starts playing. And then whenever the verse ends here and goes into the hook, and it cuts it out, says we don't need to listen to it. This second verse starts up and it says, all right, we can listen to it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my sends for my delay here. Just got a simple delay going on the ad lib. He's got his ad lib spaced out pretty much throughout the whole song. So it just sounded good. I'm not a big fan of putting ad libs on or delays on ad libs, but for this track, the way that it was set up, it just really fit the song. So, and then I go ahead and throw a reverb send on the bus. That way it affects all of these. There's no sense in, putting it on just a couple. We're going to do the reverb on all of these tracks, so we could just put it on this bus here that all of them are running through. Okay. And for the reverb, I am running Altiverb 7. I'm going to go through the details of all that. I might make another video on showing you what I do for my reverbs. But notice the amount of reverb I'm adding in here. I'll mute the track so you can hear. It's not a lot. It really isn't.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends.
All right. So it's just a little bit to liven up the room that he recorded in. And something I like to do with that reverb send, not only do I put it on my verse, but remember, I'm sending this signal out before it hits reverb. I'm sending it out to a doubler. I'm sending it out to a parallel compressor. I'm sending it out to saturation. And I'm sending it out to delays. Okay? So I also put that reverb on the doubler, on the parallel compression, saturation, and yes, I even put it on the delays. All right, and what this does on the delays, it really rounds it out and makes the reverbs bounce. So it's not just a delay and it's not just a reverb. It's a reverb that has movement. So whenever it delays, it pushes that reverb up and down every time it echoes. It's just a really cool trick. I'll probably do a video on that as well. And show you guys just some of the cool stuff you can do with the delays, going to reverbs and stuff like that. So let's listen to our verse now that we've got all the processing in, let's turn it all off. How about that? Let's do that. Let's go ahead and turn all of this stuff off and let you guys listen to it. And then we'll turn it all on and let you listen to it. See what you think. All right, this is completely dry.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. The 10 stacks can get you killed, my check off the civilian. Young stop Sicilian, she know I love that guap. So she go and get that bread and bring me back them garlic knots. Lord know I love that cheese, that fettuccine hit the spot. All I do is get dough, so I be counting cash a lot. Whole motherfucker baller, so I'm getting ass a lot. Hey, my money like an X-Man, they both come back.
Alright, let's go ahead and turn all this stuff on.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. The 10 stacks can get you killed, my check off the civilian.
Oops, I forgot the bus it's going through. Alright, this is with everything.
Can't sit still, but I don't need no Ritalin. I'm busy getting money, yeah, I'm chasing after dividends. The 10 stacks can get you killed, my check off the civilian. Young stop Sicilian, she know I love that guap. So she go and get that bread and bring me back them garlic knots. Lord know I love that cheese, that fettuccine hit the spot. All I do is get dough, so I be counting cash a lot. Whole motherfucker baller, so I'm getting ass a lot. Say my money like an X-Man, they both.
Alright. So that is a simple rundown of how I treat my vocals. Gives you a little bit of idea on de-essing and show you what that can do. Remember we did subtractive EQ. It's always better to remove than it is to add, guys. Remember that. So if you're going to add it somewhere, you should really think about subtracting it elsewhere to make room for it. So this was getting out most of those resonant frequencies, problem frequencies. Then we went through a compressor, got us probably about 3 dB of reduction. Went through a vocal rider, did very, very minimal amount of work here. We're talking under a dB. Then we went through an EQ, took a little low mids out, and this is all per track, per artist. You know, this, you can copy these settings all you want. I mean, you guys can pause the screen and, you know, get these presets or, you know, go through here and touch all this stuff. You know, I basically start out with certain presets and then start tweaking. It's not going to work, man. I mean, you guys can copy everything there is to copy on here and you might get in the ballpark, but you're really going to have to understand what each plugin is doing to the track, to the vocals, to whatever you're mixing. You need to understand what it's doing, how it's affecting it, and then you can get a better idea on how to utilize it to the best of your ability. And then we got RVox, which is another type of compressor. And then I've got that gate just to kill that noise when it's not being used. Then we're sending to a doubler. We're also doing parallel compression. I mean, this right here, the parallel compression, that is a big deal. Okay, that right there is what gives you most of your consistency and upfrontness in your track. That's gonna give you the best results right there, is if when you learn how to parallel compress. Saturation, it's not something I do on every artist, every vocal or anything like that. They just happen to fit this style of the song. The air, this is what gives you that high-end shimmer. And then I've got a delay. There's an intro part here that I actually automated, turning the delay on and off. So then we go through a bus. We're summing all 4 of these tracks into one mono bus. And I'm hitting the API 2500, getting about 6 dB of reduction out of that. And then we're going through a J37 tape emulator, just rounding off the top end a little bit. Then we're going through a CLA 2A to limit it. level it out, and then once again just a gate here just to kill the noise off of that tape emulator. Alright, so that's all I got for you today, and I'll be back. I'll give you guys something else to digest here shortly, and look forward to doing more videos for you guys and doing some more in-depth tutorials for you. Once again, this is Producer Grant with Screamhouse Media. You guys comment, like, and subscribe. Peace.